In this video, let's talk about how to retrieve data from two tables. The customers table shows that 3 customers have signed up on our e-commerce website. But if you analyze the orders table, not every customer has actually placed the order. Only customers with ID 1 and 2 have placed some order on our shopping site. What if the e-commerce website manager wants us to generate a report? He's only interested in the customer's name and the product name only if the customer has placed some order. Obviously, when we want to retrieve data from tables, we need to use the select from comment. But he's only interested in the customers who have placed the order. How can we do that? We need to use the inner join function. The inner join function will only retrieve data from 2 tables if a foreign key value appears in both tables. At the beginning of this semester, we said we want to use the cast ID in the orders table as a foreign key. By using this foreign key, we can make a logical connection between customers table and the orders table. This is how inner join will work. First, inner join will look up the first cast ID. It finds out it's 1, right? And then inner join will go to customers table, find out if the data records with cast ID exist in this table. It does exist in the customers table, and then inner join will retrieve the first customer's information and then combine the customer information with the first order information. Then inner join will save the combined information into the final report. Inner join will look up the second cast ID in the order table. It's still 1, and 1 does exist in the customers table. Then inner join will combine the first customer's information with the second order information, and then save the combination into the final report. Then inner join will look at the third cast ID. It's still 1, right? As we said, 1 exists in the customers table. Then inner join will combine the first customer's information with the third order information, save it into the final report. Then inner join will look at the fourth cast ID. It's number 2. Inner join will look up the customers table and find out number 2 exists in the customers table. Then inner join will combine the second customer's information with the last order information and then save this combination into the final report. What about the third customer? As I just said, inner join only retrieves data from 2 tables if the foreign key value exists in both tables. We have a cast ID 3 in customers table, but cast ID 3 only exists in 1 table, in the customers table. We don't have any cast ID equal to 3 under the orders table. Then inner join will ignore the third customer's information. You will not see anything related to Gina Johnston in the final result. This is how inner join works. Next, I want to show you how we can implement inner join in SQL. Let's go to Workbench and then create a new SQL script. Let's type in use my site and then semicolon. Next, we want to type in select an asterisk from customers. Inner join customer orders on customers dot cast ID equals to customer orders dot cast ID and then semicolon. It's very interesting how the MySQL Workbench software understands our comments. First, the software will look at customers' inner join customer orders. By doing this, the software is able to understand we want to retrieve data from two tables. They are customers and customer orders. Remember, we need to use inner join to connect these two tables. Then the software is able to find out the source data tables. Next, the software will look at the statement after the keyword on. Since we use cust ID equals to cust ID, then the software will only retrieve data if it can find a cust ID match in two tables. If there is a value 3 exists in customers table, but the software cannot find the cust ID equals to 3 in the order table, then the software will ignore the data records with cust ID 3 in the customers table. This is how it works. Let's take a look at the result. Let's click the lightning bolt. Now you can see only the customers who actually placed the orders will show up in the final report. Now we show all columns from the two tables, right? But the manager only wants to know the customers' names and product names in the final report. So we need to remove the asterisk and then type in cust first name and then a comma and then type in cust last name and then another comma and then type in product name and then click the lightning bolt. You will find what the manager wants. The last point I want to mention is the dot operator. Let's go to the statement after the keyword on. Notice that before the first cust ID, I use customers dot cust ID. This means I want to access to the cust ID column under the customers table. When you use a dot after a table name and then type in the column name, you want to access to the column under this table. This is how you access to a column under a particular table. Let's say you want to access to cust ID under orders table. Then you use customer orders dot cust ID. This means you want to access to the cust ID column under the customer orders table. This is the last point I want to mention.